Hello and welcome to Natalie's Weekly Oracle Wisdom. My name is Natalie and we are going to have a look at what the Oracle cards have to tell us about the energies for the week ahead. I hope that everybody had a wonderful weekend. And what updates can I give you on Gemini Rising? Anne and I are actually speaking. I know I had said Fixed Air Moon was joining us for a 2026 look at the year ahead. We are actually speaking to another astrologer instead, just due to scheduling conflicts, and he is a Hellenistic astrologer, so I'm hoping to have a date for him within the next 7 days, and so we'll announce that on the Gemini Rising social media pages, so make sure you are keeping an eye on those. And, you know, the astrology is pretty intense at the moment. I know that I am definitely feeling this Mars-Saturn square, and then as soon as that finishes, we go into a Mars-Neptune square. So I hope that everybody is doing okay and just kind of making it through these very interesting times. We are going to start with the Ascending Life Oracle, the MAhrukhX deck. I'm going to pull a couple of cards and we will Okay, so the first few cards out, we've got the unseen, working behind the scenes, not seeing the full picture, the blessings you don't see, magic happening behind the scenes. Online, being active on social media, strong social media presence, influencer emails, online dating, online business. We have evil eye. You are protected, cleanse and protect your energy, jealous people nearby, careful who you trust. And then we have cleanup, sweeping away negative situations, cleaning up your life, decluttering your mind, simplifying your life. So I think that there are things that are going on right now that we are not aware of, and we may think that we have the full picture, but we don't. So I think it's a moment to not jump the gun, not throw the baby out with the bathwater, for lack of a better term. It's something that we need to kind of keep going and be aware of, and sort of trust that there is more information that's going to be coming in. So social media is clearly playing a part in this, whether it be a business that you're trying to set up or something you're trying to do. Maybe it's something to do with just email communications, but it's something that's coming up. Maybe it's a matter of being careful about what you're posting, because putting the online together with the evil eye, I think people often misunderstand social media and forget that when people are posting, we're posting a moment of our lives. These people are not getting the full picture. They're not understanding everything that's going on for us. They don't know the emotions that we're working through and everything that we have going on in our lives. And so people are often watching even when we don't know that they are, and, you know, they're coming up with their own narrative around all of this. So just be aware. And again, that can go into the unseen. These are things that you don't necessarily know are happening. So just make sure that you are protecting your energy. And with this Mars-Saturn square, I don't know about all of you, but I know I have been exhausted. I am sleeping so much at the moment. So make sure that you are protecting your energy. And I bring that up because when we are depleted, when we are tired, it leaves sort of holes in our aura, or just it gives people the ability to attack us. It makes it just that little bit easier for those energetic attacks to come through. So make sure you are protecting yourself. Clean up, sweeping away negative situations. I think that goes back to protecting yourself, making sure that you are getting enough rest, but also just tidying up these loose ends. If you are feeling like you are kind of struggling to get things done, maybe you just need to focus closer to home. You need to focus on tidying up your workspace. A clean workspace helps keep your mind clear and focused and things moving. Maybe it's simplifying your life. Are there things that no longer serve you? I know I always go through these stages where I have to go through and unsubscribe from a whole bunch of emails, some that I've signed up for, but they no longer serve me. Others are things that clearly someone sold my data and so people are buying it and what have you. But there are moments where I go, okay, this is actually too much and I need to go back and get rid of all of that so that I can see the things that are important and that I need to be seeing as they're coming through. So just a general cleanup, decluttering your physical space, decluttering your mental and emotional space, I think is incredibly important. Now, while I was talking, we had a card jump out, which is up in the air, not knowing where you stand, situation, decision still undecided, uncertainty about something, lacking stability. And I have a feeling that this is where you're at right now. And this is why the unseen has come up, because there are things going on that we don't have all the information on. So I think this is just part of this energy this week and these squares and the intense energy that we have going on. So we had Saturn go direct. We have Neptune going direct in 2 days, which I think will help a lot of the mental clarity that we've been lacking. I just want to see if there's... Okay, so then this card is fragmented. The picture is incomplete, a split in your energy, too many things going on at once, having too many options. So I think this is a good indication of how we're... Okay, now the camera wants to start playing up. How we're feeling at the moment. I think this up in the air feeling is in part because we are feeling fragmented. We're feeling like we're all over the place. We don't have the complete picture. You know, this split in energy, it's okay. Everything that's coming out, I think, is pointing to the very messy energy that we have right now, because hot mess just jumped out. Disorderly habits, untidy mind, chaotic, messy situation, feeling miserable, unhappy, being irresponsible. So there is this messy energy that is going on. We're not grounded, we're not stable, we feel like pieces of ourselves are everywhere. And I think this is the best indication of how it feels. Not necessarily that we're hungover and have the cigarette hanging out of our mouths, but you get the general picture. So I think this is where this card and this card, so cleanup and the unseen, are the two most important cards that are coming out for us this week in this reading in terms of what we need to do. And I think that cleaning up and tweaking, like getting rid of the things that aren't serving us, cleaning our physical space, if that's all we have the energy to do, and trusting that there is more going on, which will become clear, I think, later in the week, possibly into next week, will help us. Okay. So one last card that jumped out from this deck is single life, living your best single life, working on yourself, becoming more self-reliant, not settling for a bad match. So it says single life. Yes, it could mean that that's what you need to embrace and move forward with, but it doesn't mean we're all going to end up single. What it does mean is this is the moment where we have to focus on self. We have to focus on our needs, what we're doing, setting ourselves up for for success. So that might be becoming more self-reliant. I don't know if you're in a codependent relationship or you're relying on friends too much. You know, we go through stages where we are so reliant on particular friends or people in our lives where we go, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to proceed. And we call them and go through everything, and we won't make a decision until we speak to them. Maybe it's a matter of going, right, I have to start listening to my own intuition. I have to start trusting my gut. I have to start trusting the messages that I'm getting, and that's how I have to move forward. And then the other thing is, maybe it's looking at our relationships and saying, is this serving me? Is this a good match? Is this a healthy match for me? So I think this is a week that is going to feel messy, that maybe isn't going to feel the best, but there is a way forward, and we have to focus on taking those smaller steps right now, as opposed to focusing on just what isn't serving us. So I have a new deck that we are using now, and thank you, Anne, for bringing this to my attention, because she came and showed it to me last week when I was at the High Vibe Studios, and I immediately fell in love and ordered my own deck. So this is the Mystic Forest Oracle cards. I don't actually know who the author is. So where there is hope, don't believe that that past defeats or disappointments will keep you from succeeding. True success grows from lessons. A hopeful heart never gives up. So I feel like there is that energy of, I've kind of had enough. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to throw the towel in. I can't. And we have to remember, again, we go back to the unseen. There is more at play than we are aware of, and we have to keep that in mind. So keep going, focus on the things that you can control, do the work on yourself, make sure you are protecting yourself. And you know what? If you feel like the energetic attacks that are happening because of things that you're posting online, maybe pull back from that. People don't need to see every part of your life. You don't need to share everything. People don't need to know where you are. I'm always amazed by people that check in everywhere on Facebook. I'm like, why would you want anyone to know where you're at? That's just me, but to me, that's a way of protecting your energy. The next card out is a deeper world. Don't push or force your way through life. Finding balance, even in dark times, will open your heart to the depths of compassion in everyday moments. So this is about moving through the world and finding those places where there is less resistance. If we are going through like a bulldozer or a wrecking ball, we're probably going to keep coming up against more resistance, because that's not our path. We can make it our path, but that means our journey is filled with frustration and having to keep getting that wrecking ball out. So this is about finding that balance. It's about trusting in these moments where everything feels messy and unsettled, that we're exactly where we need to be, and the lessons that are coming up for us are what we need to learn so that we can continue to grow and move forward. And then the final card from the Mystic Forest Oracle cards is embrace the spiritual belief that everything already exists in the here and now. Live in the present moment and be grateful for what you have. So part of this to me goes towards, the theory of manifestation. One of the things that we're meant to do is talk about everything as if it's already happened. So we don't say, oh, if I get the job. It's like, now that I have the job, or that job is mine, and we talk, and it's about talking it into existence. But the other thing is, I think that's playing into this is understanding that we have everything we need. I remember in Australia, there was a moment where I downsized where I was living. I was living in quite a large home, and it was just me. And when I had my dogs, the space made sense. And all of a sudden, it was just Marvin, my cat, and myself. And we were living there, and I went, this place doesn't suit me anymore. Like I wanted to be closer in towards town, because that was where all my friends were, my life was. And I knew I would need to downsize. I knew I would not be able to live in a home the same size as if I moved closer in. And so I weighed up the pros and cons and I went, right, it's time. And so I moved, and then I thought I had sold all the furniture that I needed to sell. I donated stuff. I got rid of so much stuff, and I went, oh, I have nothing left. And then I moved into this place, and I remember thinking, oh my God, none of this stuff fits. I have to sell more, and I've got to buy some new stuff and all of this. And I'm like, this place is so small. And compared to where I was, it was so small. But once I got everything settled and set up, I remember sitting there one day, and I loved that place. I loved living there. And I looked around one day and I went, I have everything I need. I had a bunch of stuff in storage at my dad's place. I sold so much, but I had every single thing that I needed. There was nothing that I was lacking for. And this is the attitude that we have to look at with life at the moment. It's embracing everything that already exists in the here and now and living in the present moment, being grateful for what we have, manifesting the things that we don't have, but being okay with it. And this is where, if you've ever heard me talk about manifestation in the past, I always say you have to put it out to the universe, but you have to detach from the outcome. And it's not just saying I've detached from the outcome, but actually detaching from it, which is difficult to do sometimes when there is something that we really, really want. But we just have to. Me moving to the US, I was so detached from that outcome that when it came up and it all fell into place, I was blown away, but I just went, this was always meant to be. But I manifested it years before, like years and years before, I think almost a decade. And then I forgot about it. So you have to trust that, and you have to embrace everything that you have that is serving you in a really wonderful way. We are going to finish with the Healing Spirits Oracle, which is a Gordon Smith deck. And I knew the energy was a bit messy this week, at least for me. And but I never know what the reading is going to come out as. But I looked in my cupboard with all my decks, and this deck leapt out. I was like, I feel in my bones that healing is what all of us need this week. So the first one, the first card out is always in motion. And this is what we have to remember when we're feeling this way. Nothing is forever. This too shall pass. These feelings of frustration, these feelings of being up in the air, these feelings of being fragmented or feeling like we're just a mess and we're not getting anything done. Part of that can be that it's the end of the year feelings that tend to come up year after year. We get to December, and as things are winding down and people are getting into the holiday mode and nobody sort of really wants to work, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur and doing your own thing, people kind of start switching off. And if you're someone who's incredibly motivated, it can be frustrating going, come on, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. And nobody else wants to come to the party. But I think a big part of this is this astrological energy that we have going on. We have a solar flare that is hitting us tonight. I was telling Anne before we started this show, there are expected to be auroras. The last prediction I saw was between 4 and 7 a.m. Eastern time. So that'll be between 1 and 4 Pacific time if you're here in the US. But those times change. The guesstimate about what time those auroras are going to hit us gets more accurate closer to the time. But we also had another X-class solar flare fire off the sun yesterday. So we've got another one coming at us. So with all of this energy that's going on and messing with us and messing with our head and making us feel all these different kinds of ways, just remember that everything is in motion. Everything shifts, everything moves. And just because we feel shitty today and because things aren't working, it doesn't mean that that's what it's going to be forever. And it doesn't mean it's what it's going to be tomorrow or in the next hour. Everything can shift in a moment. You get a phone call that gives you amazing news and everything shifts. So just remember that. And then the final card for this week's reading Courage arrives when you step over fear. So if you're in a place where this energy is really getting you down and you're at a point where you're questioning everything, just remember, to get to the other side of fear, you have to step through it. And if you ever watch any of Anne's and my episodes of Gemini Rising, we always ask people when they're on the show for the first time, what's your best advice on how to transcend fear? And most of the answers, they're worded in everybody's individual way and obviously come from their own perceptions, but most people talk about how you have to go through it. And I couldn't agree more. This is a moment where if it's all becoming too much and you kind of want to step back and go, I can't, because I can't have another loss. I can't be told no. I can't be told any of these things. It's exactly when you have to keep moving forward. And look, if the answer is no, at least then you know what the answer is and you continue forward. I always say, if something is terrifying, and we'll use me moving to the US as an example, I was terrified of failure. I was terrified of leaving behind everything that I knew to move to a country where I only knew a handful of people. And I knew I was completely on my own. And there were moments where it was lonely, and I'm not someone that generally gets lonely, but when you're on your own all the time, you have these moments of like, what have I done? But a bigger fear for me was, what if I don't do it? And then I have to live with the question of what if? And so for me, I figured if I failed, I have a 2.5-year adventure and I move back to Australia and I get to say, well, you know what? I gave it a shot and now I'm doing this thing over here. I'm so glad I took that risk. So just remember, if something is scaring you, push through, go to the other side, get the definitive response so that you can move forward and go from there. I hope this reading resonated with some of you, if not all of you. As I always say, not every reading is for every person. Thank you, Anne. Yes, like and subscribe. If you're on the YouTube channel, if you're not on High Vibe, make sure you go and check that out. I always have the link below if you're watching this on YouTube. And make sure you are following the Gemini Rising pages, because we will announce which astrologer we are going to be doing this look ahead at 2026 with, and we will announce the date and the time. I'm just getting that squared away. And we also have an incredible high viber who is going to join us. So we just have to talk about dates with her, and she does a whole bunch of stuff. So super excited for all of that. Make sure you're watching all of that. And Anne, thank you so much for, after your long day, helping me with this so I could go live on both YouTube and High Vibe. Always grateful and can't wait to be back on Gemini Rising with you. Have a great week, everyone.